by overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 Tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 Tour.
It's time! Let's go!
Bane drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaron with a knockaway.
Good defense!
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Woo! Let's go! Let's go!
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right. I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day. Just whatever. I'm not. And I hope you didn't call it a night, or maybe I hope you did. You know, perhaps it's better if you did call it a night, not have to sit through one of the biggest collapses in NBA playoff history, because that's what we got last night in Game 3 inside FedEx Forum. Up 29 points late in the second quarter, up 26 early in the third. Lose the game to go down 0-3 in a best-of-7 series against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ja Morant was injured, never returned. Season likely over. No official announcement yet, but it was a rough night inside the building. We'll talk through it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, Jessica Benson is going to join me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurd. Weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. She'll pop in here on about 3 hours sleep. I'll chop it up with her for a few minutes. Then we'll let her go take a nap or walk dogs or however she's going to spend her Friday afternoon. Either way, Jessica Benson is going to be here in that chair in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to Jess, we'll take a break, come back. Do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, night 1 of the NFL draft was held last night in Green Bay as expected. Bennett got his guy. Cam Ward went number 1 to the Titans. Then Travis Hunter goes number 2. We'll discuss the tip top of the draft. We're going to do it in about 40 minutes. Obviously, the story of the night was the slide of Shedeur Sanders. 32 players were picked last night. Deion's son was not one of them. Why? We'll explore it in just a bit. Golden Globe winner Hugh Grant went on a rant about his children's private school and all of the screen time that it requires from his kids. He made some reasonable points. It's stuff we've talked about before. I'll give you the quotes a little later on in the show. Penny Hardaway has added another Power Conference player to the University of Memphis men's basketball program. His name is Doug McDaniel. He was once suspended for road games over academic reasons. Tell you a little bit more about that story. We'll do that later on in the show. And 5-star basketball prospect Elijah Arenas, the son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas, was involved in a scary vehicle accident yesterday. Cybertruck hit a fire hydrant in a tree, caught fire. Young man has been placed into a coma. I'll get you updated on that awful situation. Just scary stuff. We'll spend some time on it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know, and then we'll eventually do GP's carry out and call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to, but I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies, because Game 3 of their best-of-7 series with the Thunder, it was played last night here in downtown Memphis. Buddy, I tell you, if you live to be 150, you might never see another one quite like that. Final score, OKC 114, MEM 108. The Grizz led by as many as 29 points and were up 27 when Ja Morant left the game with a hip injury. Nothing official, to be clear. We'll let at Grizzlies PR handle that. But all things considered, I think we'd all be surprised if we see Ja Morant play basketball again before October. As you likely know, he was injured on a transition opportunity. Let me talk you through it, and then we'll watch it together and see if we can agree or disagree on what we're seeing here. So Scottie Pippen Jr. steals a pass. He's out in front with Lou Dort chasing. Rather than lay it in and or risk getting blocked, Scottie dumps the ball off to Ja, who's trailing the play, and about to dunk. The score in this moment, if you just hit pause, what's about to happen is the score's about to go to 69-40, 3:14 left, and the roof is about to come off the place just before halftime. That's where we're at. 3:14 left in the second quarter. Ja's about to dunk. It's about to be 69-40. The roof's about to come off the place. Another Ja highlight is in progress. But then Lou Dort tries to deflect the drop-off. That's the first thing. He tries to get a hand on the drop-off. And while doing so, it appears that he slips. That he just slips. That's the truth. At least the truth as I see it, it looks like he slips. And then his body gets awkward, the way your body often does when you slip. Bennett, have you slipped lately? I did the other day. I had socks on and I was on hardwood floors and I slipped a little bit. And your body can get a little awkward when that happens. So Ja gets in the air. Lou Dort's body's getting awkward because he just slipped. His head and shoulder end up on Ja's thigh. And because Ja is 6'2", 175 pounds, he easily gets knocked off balance. We've known this for a while. Lands on his hip. And that was probably the end of his season. So that's what happened, at least in my eyes. I've heard other people call it dirty. I didn't see it as dirty. I saw it as unfortunate, depressing, clearly deflating. Now, Kyra, if you have it, let's watch the play together and let's see if I'm seeing it the way everybody else is seeing it.
Williams, that was deflected and stolen by Pippen. Drop off, Morant, and Lugens Dort undercutting Ja Morant. Clearly, there will be a review for a flagrant foul. And Morant, who's dealt with any number of issues, down in considerable pain.
So we stayed here for a little while. Ja Morant on the court, crowd booing. Let's watch this replay one more time. Here's a different angle of it.
The foul on Dort is under review to see if he meets the criteria for a flagrant foul.
Watch his feet slip. And then his head and shoulder end up in Ja's thigh. And when you're 175 pounds, you get in the air like that, any little bump, that right there. Now, I know some people are going to say, hey, look, he's still, as he's slipping, he's still trying to make a play on the basketball. And perhaps that's a little reckless, that in that moment you should understand you're slipping and not try to make a play on the basketball then, because you're creating what could be a scary situation. And I'm not dismissive of that completely. Like, I'll listen to that. But you know who that is, right? That's Lou Dort. You know what he does for a living?
Plays defense.
Makes plays on basketballs. His instincts are to make plays on basketballs. Like, I don't know if you're used to watching one team or the other, but that team, that one, they make plays on basketballs all the time. They are constantly trying to make plays on basketballs. And that's what it looked like he was trying to do there. It didn't look like he was being dirty. It looked like he was trying to get in the way at first. Just trying to get in the way. You know, that's like one of the basic things about defense in basketball. Just get in the way. You know, you ever hear coaches, people say, hey, hey, Zach Edey, just be big. Yeah, you just need to be big. You know what that means? It just means be big, just get in the way. Be big and get in the way. Initially, just trying to get in the way. Then he reaches to try to deflect the drop-off. Then he slips. And then he's still trying to make a play on the ball. Not because, at least in my mind, he's trying to get Ja Morant off balance or be dirty. Because it is a part of the DNA of that basketball team. They are constantly trying to make plays on basketballs. That's what it looked like to me. Big Bet Bennett, good morning.
Good morning.
I got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Do you take issue with anything I just saw or I just said? And 2, are you bothered at all that after the officials did review all of that, every bit of it, they did decide to leave it as just a common foul on Lou Dort while Ja Morant spent the rest of the night on crutches?
That's what I have the most problem with, that it was just called a common foul. Here's why. I agree. I do not think it was a dirty play. I do think it was a little reckless because I think here's what I'll say. And this is why I think it should have been a flagrant and why I think that it's something that the NBA needs to take a hard look at, because we've talked about this before. You know, Ja Morant's one of the most watched highlights in the league, right? He goes as viral as any other players in the league outside of like LeBron James and Steph Curry, right? Why? Because
quite literally,
he's a high flyer, dunks the ball, highlight plays, right? That's great for the league. That's great for the league. Him getting hurt, not good for the league. And the league has evolved in different eras. Like, for instance, the post-Michael Jordan era, they get rid of the hand checks, and so guys have to learn to defend without grabbing and hand checking, right? The Steph Curry era, guys have to learn how to, the three-point shooting era, guys have to learn to close out differently. You got to give a guy space to land. That's a new thing that players have to learn. I think this is another example that these guys are only going to get more and more athletic. Like, I think Ja's one of one, but there could be another, guy that can jump that high and make plays like that. And so my opinion would be that you have to find a way to protect these guys. It's why I think that should have been a flagrant, because Lou Dort just needs to get out of the way. They need to teach these guys, hey, we want to see Ja doing that. We want to see guys like Ja doing that on a night-in, night-out basis. So, listen, we know you didn't do it on purpose, but you better find a way to get out of the way when he's jumping to the rim like that and not undercut him. That's just my opinion.
I hear you. And if the sentiment is we need to do a better job league-wide of protecting players while they're in the air, I mean, we do this in other sports in the NFL. I mean, the rules have been dramatically changed there to protect receivers who can't protect themselves.
That's right.
All right? To protect quarterbacks who, need to be protected.
Yeah, you can't touch their helmet.
So I hear you. I understand the sentiment. But let me ask you this. Do you agree? And if you don't, say it. I'm open to anything. Yeah. Do you agree the main reason what happened is because he slipped?
Yes. I do not think he was doing anything dirty there, and I agree with you. Like, his instinct is to make a play on the ball.
So how are we going to legislate slipping?
Well, but the thing is, though, is the reason that I said it should be a flagrant is because even though it wasn't intentional, you're still in a bad spot, and you probably didn't have a chance to make a play at all. In that it's 2-on-1 with 2 point guards that are good at passing the ball. You don't have a chance there, so you just got to get out of the way, or we're gonna call flagrant. Just like if you accidentally close out on a guy too hard and he lands on your foot and twists his ankle when he's trying to shoot a three, that's a flagrant.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I don't know that I agree completely, but you're making fair points. My issue would be that, like, he slipped, and if you want to further punish somebody for slipping, then that is what you're doing on some level. You're further punishing somebody for slipping. I did think CJ made a great point this morning that based on the tape that we're watching, independent of everything, I actually think it should have been a common foul. I think the refs got it right. I think he just slipped, and it wasn't as reckless as it was just unfortunate. He was a player slipping, trying to make a play on a basketball, trying to make a real basketball play. If you want to then say, okay, but that's reckless because you're slipping, you shouldn't be trying to make a play on basketball, I'll listen to that. I understand. But ultimately, I think I would have sided with where the officials were. The point CJ made is if the Grizzlies make a bigger deal out of that, then it might get escalated to a flagrant just because the officials feel like we got to do something here.
I completely agree there.
Like Draymond Green would not have allowed Steph Curry to get bumped and hit and fall like that without causing something that looks like a fight. And I don't even like Draymond Green, but what I just told you is the truth. And I would have, you know what I would have said? Man, Draymond might need to calm down. Lou Dort didn't mean to do that. He slipped. That might be what I say. But you know what would have happened in that moment? You would have rallied your teammates, probably got the thing upgraded to a thing, got the crowd re-energized, and now we're in a fight. Let's go. As it was, that was the beginning of the end.
That's completely true.
That was the beginning of the end.
No, I mean, I saw Jaren obviously went and got in his face a little bit, but like,
thank you for adding a little bit.
I needed, I wanted to see a little bit more passion there for sure. Because, I mean, the fans are furious. Like, I mean, in real time, everybody thought that it was a cheap shot, right? Like, and then we have the benefit of replay.
Here's the thing, what I'm trying to tell you, most basketball teams, even if you don't think it was a cheap shot, you do something about that.
I'm with you.
You know, like think of this as baseball. There are a million times in a season where a pitcher hits a hitter and it's not intentional. It's just something that happened, but somebody pays the price for that.
Everybody goes after you.
Somebody pays a price for that. And I ain't saying we got to start the malice in the palace inside FedEx Forum last night. I'm just saying that the point CJ made earlier is, I believe, spot on. Whether that should have been upgraded to something more than a common foul is debatable. Let's just call it debatable.
Sure.
The Grizzlies could have raised hell and got it escalated, got the whole thing escalated, had the whole building feeling a different way. Could have, instead of going from what they ended up going into, which is, all right, we lost John, let's see if we can hold on. You could be like, all right, let's fight. Let's fight for a minute. Couldn't even get that. So Ja eventually gets up off the court. He takes both free throws, misses both free throws, and then he leaves the game never to return. At that point, the Grizz are up 67-40 with 3:14 left. 7 seconds later, Desmond Bane gets a bucket. One of his rare ones last night, makes it 69-40. So eventually the Grizzlies find themselves up 29 points with less than 27 minutes to play. At the half, they're up 26. So you pick whichever framing you like. Up 29 with less than 27 to play, or up 26 with less than 24 to play. Both things are true. Pick whichever one you like. And the Grizz still lose the game to go down 0-3 in a best-of-7 series with Game 4 set for tomorrow afternoon inside FedEx Forum. Now, Bennett, I have heard some folks say last night and today, hey, what do you expect? They lost Ja Morant. Hey, what are you going to do? They lost Ja Morant. Do you subscribe to that?
I subscribe to the momentum and the energy in the building, and everything was completely sucked out. Like, so you had no momentum on your side at all. So I do subscribe to that. I still think you got to win that game.
They lost Ja Morant. What do you expect? That was the question people were asking, rhetorically or not, last night. Even Kenny Smith said it on the postgame. Ernie Johnson's like, hey, they blow a 29-point lead. And Kenny Smith's like, yeah, but Ja Morant got hurt, as if that's an excuse. It might be an explanation. And if it is, we got a bigger conversation to have about who else is on this team, really. But it shouldn't be an excuse. Well, they lost Ja Morant. What do you expect? Ask me that question. Ask me that question right now. I'll tell you what I expect.
Well, GP, we lost Ja. What do you expect?
Win the game. Win the game. That's what I expect. You're up 29 points with less than 27 to play.
No, I mean, I think it was 5 points in the final 7 minutes. Like,
you're up 29 points with less than 27 minutes to play. You're up 26 at the half. The halftime line wasn't OKC minus 27. What are we talking about? Even with Ja on crutches, the Grizzlies still have one dude on a $207 million contract and another dude on the court who's about to maybe ask you for a cool $345 million. Neither of you can close the game up 26 with less than 24 to play. One of you making $34 million this year. The other one, 25. This is where you make people think you're worth it or not. This is where you show folks you deserve it or don't. They both melted in the moment. Melted. And so did the rest of the team. And that's how you blow a 29-point lead in your home building and rip away any hope your fans were trying to muster to think maybe this could be something other than what it's clearly going to be now. Pathetic. That was pathetic. Everybody not named Ja Morant should be embarrassed about what happened from the moment Ja Morant went out of that game. Up 29 with less than 27 to play, up 26 with less than 24. You have to win that game. You guys are NBA players too, I thought. At least until your current contracts run out, then some of you won't be anymore. But Jesus Christ, you realize the Grizzlies are about to play the Thunder tomorrow, barring a surprise without Ja Morant. You realize that, right? You know what the line is? It's not Oklahoma City minus 30. It's 14.5. Minus 14.5 over 48 minutes tomorrow, presumably without Ja. But you can't close out up 29 with less than 27 to play without Ja last night? That's embarrassing. You let Alex Caruso out everything you in your home building on national television. Kyra, there's a highlight reel floating around of Alex Caruso's fourth quarter. Let's play that, no sound, so we can just see what this guy was doing to the Grizzlies in the fourth quarter. Oh, take the ball. Okay, I'll take that ball too. Watch this one. This is the most frustrating one.
Been a menace.
One dude on the floor. Who is it?
That's what, and I said that to you after the last
One
game.
dude on the floor.
Yeah.
3 dudes standing there in Vancouver jerseys. One dude standing there in an OKC jersey. Only one on the floor is the one in an OKC jersey. The guy on the 1 seed with a 2-0 lead in this series is the one on the court. Not the dudes at home fighting for their lives. Or at least you'd like to think. How's that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. That's just that just feels like an effort thing.
Alex Caruso is 6'5", 186 pounds. Jaren Jackson Jr. is 6'10", 242 pounds. Jaren's got 5 more inches, 56 more pounds. And you getting beat up by somebody who looks like me. Alex Caruso is me plus like 7 or 8 inches.
I like Caruso.
And he's out
not
there
right now, but
he's out there whipping your
general.
ass. Out there just whipping your ass the entire fourth quarter. Batman's in the locker room. Batman's on crutches. Can you at least be Robin? Can you at least be Robin? Because that's all it would take is Robin to close this thing out. Robin could get this thing closed out. Up 29 with less than 27 to play. Up 26 with less than 24. You got 2 dudes out there who should be able to, with just about any cast of characters, close that out. Again, the line at halftime when we knew Ja Morant almost certainly wasn't coming back was not Oklahoma City minus 30. You're never supposed to blow that. Never. When you do, it's an indictment on you and everything about you. And that sequence, the third one in that highlight reel, is the one that should be the most frustrating. We don't have to watch it again. You can watch it on your own time. But we talked about it as you were seeing it for the first time. There's about 10 minutes left in this game. Crowd's still into it. Grizz are up 8. That 29-point lead has been cut by 21 points, but you're still up 8 with about 10 to play. Mm-hmm. You're still in your home building. You're still the one fighting to try to keep this series competitive. The other team, you know what they should know, the other team? Man, we can win this one, lose this one. It doesn't matter. All right? It doesn't matter. Because they ain't going to have Ja on Saturday, so we'll knock that one out. And then we'll go home and close it out. Hell, we got to go home anyway. So we'll just go home, we'll play in one more game. And their mindset should be, it doesn't even matter what happens the rest of the night. This series is over, buddy. And your mindset should be, Jesus, Lord, if we don't win this one, I don't know what Saturday's going to look like. The only hope we got is to get through this one and hope Ja's hip ain't as bad as it might be.
Mm.
One team's got everything to play for. The other team, not really that much. And there's about 10 minutes left. You're up 8. Jaren misses a 1-footer, gets his own rebound, and then Alex Caruso just takes the ball from him, just strips it. Ball's on the ground. Jaren Jackson is standing there. Go watch it. John Conchar is standing there. Zach Edey is standing there. Alex Caruso also standing there, but not for long because the ball's on the ground. So he decides, I ain't standing no more. The only dude who dives on the court, on the hardwood, puts his body on the floor is Alex Caruso. 3 dudes in Vancouver jerseys can't bother themselves to do it. And that was emblematic of the whole thing. Yeah, the offense sucked too. They had 9 field goals in the second half and 13 turnovers. Embarrassing. You guys are professionals too, right? Embarrassing. But the effort, that's what we talked about. Yo, the game's on the line. There's 10 minutes left.
Yep.
The game's in the balance. You're still up. I know it stinks that Ja ain't here to save you. I know it stinks that the Call 12 phone got disconnected. But you should still be able to win this game.
I agree.
Make a shot. John Conchar in the corner. Wide open 3. Watch him in warm-ups. Catch a ball in the corner in rhythm. He'll make 8 out of 10 of those. But now we need it. There's some stakes here. Not even close. Zach Edey getting called for the push-off on the jump ball. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
You got this guy with 6 hit. What are we doing?
It was a gut punch unlike any other.
I really do believe that. Like, even worse than Sunday. You know, because on Sunday, Easter, you know what we could all do there? If you'll be telling the truth, I didn't see every minute of Sunday. It gets to a point you're down 56, and I say, buddy, I ain't got to do this no more.
Yep.
All right? But last night,
no, you had to ride it out. At the
you
very
had to ride
end,
that ride. You didn't get off that ride. You rode that one. Unless you fell asleep, you rode that ride. That was disgusting.
I posed the question in the double. Well, we could ask JB about it whenever she gets in here if you want me to.
Well, there still is a game 4 tomorrow.
Yes.
It's 2:30. It's a nice afternoon game inside FedEx Forum. Tickets are available, Grizzlies.com. I'm not going to try to BS you and tell you I expect the likely Ja Morant-less Grizzlies to provide a miracle 7 days after Easter, right? You saw what they are without Ja Morant over the final 27 minutes last night. Believe in that if you want to. I tried. They gave me no reason to. But what I am about to say is totally true, and call it hokey if you want to. But this kind of stuff does matter to me. You can go to a playoff game tomorrow in downtown Memphis, relatively cheap. It won't cost you much more, if at all, than it would cost you to go see a movie tomorrow. You want to go see the Minecraft movie or you want to go see a playoff game? There ain't much difference in the cost. That's the truth. I wish that weren't true. I wish that it was sold out and the secondary market was all the prices were double. That would mean there's real demand here for this thing. But we don't have to play pretend. This is a rough situation. But if you were looking to create a memory for yourself or for your kids, this is stuff I care about. For not much money, you can, tomorrow, watch what is quite literally the best basketball team in the world, led by the guy who's about to be named the MVP of the entire league. And IRL, you can watch them inside FedEx Forum. And if they go on to win the championship that they are projected to win, you or your children will have that forever. Oh, yeah, the Thunder, they won it in 25. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw them in person that year. That's the year SGA won MVP. That's the year they blew out more teams than anybody in the history of the NBA. And that's the year they won the title. Oh, yeah, I saw them IRL. Like, I have these memories from when I was a child or even as I was a young adult. Like, anytime the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa home run race comes up, you know what I can say? Yeah, I went to Busch Stadium that summer. I saw McGwire hit a homer that summer. I saw one of those. Like, the year he broke the record, I saw one of those in person. Like, I have that memory. I just created one for my children. I took my family to Minneapolis to see Kendrick Lamar's first show since the Super Bowl, opening night of the most anticipated tour of the year. In what has been the biggest year any rap artist has arguably ever had. It gets into a rap beef because one dude doesn't know it's stupid to try to argue with words with the Pulitzer Prize winner. Learn that the hard way. Gets the Super Bowl. Wins 5 Grammys. Creates what is going to be almost certainly the album of the year. Becomes the first musician artist to ever get a Gatorade campaign. He's at the peak of everything right now. And you know what my children will be able to say forever? Yeah, we saw him right then. First show since the Super Bowl. First show of that tour. At the height of his career, my parents took us to Minneapolis and we got to see that in person. They'll tell that story till they die. I'm so glad we got to do that. They'll tell that till they die. I'm not trying to get hokey with you, but like, if you could ever say, man, how good were those Michael Jordan Bulls? I saw them in person, 97. You would tell that story. You'd tell it at the bar. You'd tell it at the Thanksgiving. You'd tell it 50 times between the time you did it and the time you were no longer telling stories on this earth. And like that's available. It's available. I know I'm reaching here, but that's a real thing to me. I took my middle guy last night because I wanted him to stand on the court and feel the playoffs and get a growl towel and experience that. And we had a blast up until it wasn't fun no more. But tomorrow, all sincerity, like there's an opportunity, if you want to take advantage of it, to create that kind of memory for either yourself or your children. I wish I could tell you the Grizzlies are fully healthy and coming off a win last night and about to tie this thing 2-2. And then we're guaranteed to have a Game 6 back here in FedEx Forum. Let's go. That's not where we're at. But there's still a neat opportunity to see playoff basketball inside FedEx Forum, maybe create a memory forever inside FedEx Forum tomorrow. Like I said last night on the warm-up show, there's only 30 of these franchises. We are fortunate to have one. A lot of people would tell you we might not deserve one based on a lot of different factors, but we have one. It's ours. This wasn't here when I was growing up. It is not guaranteed to be here when my grandkids are growing up someday, right? But it's here right now, and it'll be inside FedEx Forum tomorrow at 2:30. Jessica Benson, she'll join me next.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
There's nothing like playoff basketball.
Boy, nothing like playoff basketball in Memphis.
The atmosphere of a Grizzlies playoff game is super exciting.
Oh my God, it's absolutely electric. I love seeing the crowd out.
Everybody's just screaming their heads off. You feel like you're in a movie.
People are down here. Everyone's got on their Grizz gear.
The city's excited. Everybody's excited to watch. There's really nothing like it, and I really can't wait.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
All you American wrestling fans out there, watching this international road to WrestleMania should be a wake-up call. Turn up at these shows. Stop being so spoiled, because Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes,
I love it.
Cody Rhodes.
Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing my finger because you're telling those people that they need to do better.
Yeah.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. It looks gloomy out there outside FedEx Forum a little bit, which I guess is symbolic of something. Jessica Benson is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, weekdays 8 a.m., Grind City Media. She joins me on Friday. She's here right now. How are you doing on this Friday morning? How you holding up? You okay? Are you okay?
No.
I assumed as much.
I'm really not.
You stayed up later than most. You got up earlier than most.
Yeah, and it was just it's just a brutal thing to experience. Like I've been at disappointing sporting events in my life, but that one, I will never forget it.
I will never forget it, and it's way up there.
It's way up there.
And I like to consider myself pretty level-headed when it comes to sports. Like I care deeply about the Mets, but I have never tweeted Jeff Passan something mean because he had a comment about the Mets. Like I don't argue with people on social media about it. I don't get offended by. I just enjoy the games and I enjoy caring, and I don't get too high or too low. I just sort of enjoy the experience. Same thing with the Grizzlies. I was genuinely angry last night watching that unfold because it felt like part of the world was handing them an excuse. Ja Morant's on crutches, when I don't care if Ja Morant's on crutches for the rest of his life. You should win a game. You're up 29 points.
Let me be clear. I really care if Ja Morant is on crutches.
Let me be clear. I also care if Ja Morant is on crutches. But I'm also not ruling it out at this point either.
No, it's so interesting you bring that up because my mom's in town this weekend. And God, are the Grizzlies not thinking about the moms? Because the moms are really sad. My mom has become a huge Grizzlies fan. But one of the things that is always a difficult thing when my mom does visit is dealing with my husband, who is a volatile sports fan. He is a heart on his sleeve, emotional, Bay Area sports fan through and through. If you have ever watched a game with Chris Luther, you know. I mean, like early in our relationship, it was our greatest point of contention because he's crazy. Like, he gets too high. He gets too low. He's yelling constantly. And even watching, he's gotten so much better. He's done a lot of therapy work on it, does a lot of meditation, but he still experiences sports in such a different way than my family does. And like what I grew up in, being the kid of a college commissioner, when I went to games, I was not allowed to root. I wasn't even allowed to clap. I wasn't even allowed to wear a color that might be interpreted that I was supporting that team. Like I remember when Boise State was in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma, it was a huge deal that I got to wear a Boise State shirt. I think that's the first time in my life that I was like openly allowed to at least show a smidgen of rooting interest. But so like I didn't grow up that way, right? Like I'm conditioned, and my mom's the same way. She's a daughter of a coach, and then my dad and the job he was in, like genetically speaking, I don't know how to feel normal things watching sporting events because I have been forced to push emotions down and never show how I feel. But working in this job and in this city has really pulled me out of that, not to the level of Chris. And like he's screaming on whatever night the Warriors and the Rockets were playing, and Jimmy Butler gets hurt. And so Chris is sitting by my mom at the game last night. And my mom kind of got on Chris for just how emotional he got on the Jimmy Butler injury. And he turned to her and he goes, "So how do you feel?"
Right.
She's like, "I'm so sad." And like got a little teary-eyed. And then just the understanding disappointment. And I was the same way. Like, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like I could throw up. If I had a trash can next to me, I could have at least done a little like dry heave business.
I went through both of those emotions. Like the initial like Joss down, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like that's just like, what? This is going so well. And now that's the next thing that happens. So that's like sadness, disappointment, whatever. But then it flipped pretty quickly to like, what is wrong with the rest of you? This is embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. Alex Caruso just took a game that you had and should have finished, and he just took it from you. Alex Caruso, largely on the defensive end of the court, just took a game from you. He's 5 inches smaller than Jaren Jackson Jr. and was just, I don't know how to say it other than just to say it, whipping his ass all over the court.
Yeah.
He was just whipping his ass all over the court. That's embarrassing. It doesn't mean Jaren's not amazing sometimes, but that was embarrassing. When you're up 29 at home, the crowd wasn't a sellout, but the people the people who were there were in it.
If you were there, you know. They can never take that first half away from us.
The people who were there were in it.
The team did because they end up losing, but we experienced it.
It was a beautiful night up until it wasn't. And for you not to be, it's one thing if I was about to add qualifiers. There are none. I was about to say it's one thing if there's never a thing. You're up 29 with less than 27 to play, you should win that game. You got two other dudes who think they are max players in this league, who were on the court fully healthy. You can't close that out? That's embarrassing. Everybody in that locker room last night, when asked any question, should have used some form of the phrase, "This is embarrassing."
When I even found myself, as I was reflecting in bed, unable to sleep at 2 a.m, I found myself frustrated. Why is Scottie Pippen Jr. not in at the end of the game? And I stand by that. Why is Scottie Pippen Jr. not in? He's the one thing that you had going.
You got one dude out there taking the ball from everybody. But in fairness, he did take it right from Scottie Pippen Jr. too.
That is true, but at least he made some huge threes in the first half.
Sure.
And he made a big clutch three.
Yes.
Like when the Grizzlies, that was part of that 6-0 run, and then or was that the three that put him to 108? Anyway, doesn't matter. Scottie had made a big three late in the game. I wouldn't have hated him taking that shot. You know what I do hate? I hate an air ball from Santi Aldama. I hate John Conchar taking the last shot. I hate Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the bench when the Grizzlies go up 6, when it was 105-99. I'm like, I don't care how tired you are. Call a timeout in that situation and get him a breath somewhere else. But then as I was sitting there, I was like, yes, Coach Isolo is your interim head coach, but Jaren and Des are your vets. They have to speak up in that. Jaren has to say, don't take me out of this game or find another way to get me a couple moments of rest. And both of them need to say, we are the ones who are going to touch the ball and give us the best chance at getting a shot down the stretch of the game. And you didn't see that. And it's so frustrating. It's infuriating. That's where I sat in a place of sadness. I don't really resort to anger, but that's where I started finding myself getting incredibly frustrated last night.
There's not a single person connected to that team last night that gave you any reason to have confidence in them. Isolo might be the most brilliant basketball coach in the history of the sport and might be the perfect coach to lead the Grizzlies going forward.
Yeah.
There is nothing that has happened since he's taken over to support that. Nothing. He might be amazing. If they hire him full time, he could lead this franchise to championship someday. Not ruling anything out. There has been nothing to support that has happened since he has taken over for Taylor Jenkins. That's just the truth. Yeah. I'm not even trying to be mean, but argue with me if you want to. If I'm missing something, tell me what it is. I'll listen. Yeah. It's just rough. It's a rough spot to be in, and there's got to be a lot of big questions asked about a lot, because last night should shape the way you feel about the rest of this roster. It sucks that John Morant wasn't there to close the thing out, but he left you. He if this were a relay race and you got to hand off the baton, isn't that the way that works? Buddy, he gave it to you. You should be able to fall down 3 times, get up 3 times, and still win that race.
Yeah.
He gave it to you in a good spot, and you couldn't take it. If you guys can't close that out, who are you?
And I did think...
Some of you guys think you're not expendable? Like you're untouchable? Who are you? Who are you?
We're all expendable in any job, in any world, in any universe.
I understand that, but...
No, but
I had a better night at work last night than they did.
I thought what you were referencing, what CJ said earlier this morning, and I thought it was excellent. Oklahoma City saw how the team responded to the Dort play on Ja, and they smelled blood in the water on that. They were like, oh,
they don't care.
This is how this team
they don't even
responds.
care.
No one's No one's going to clothesline one of our guys on the other end.
Yeah, like
we can turn up the intensity. We're the best defense. I don't know if you know this. We're the best defense in the NBA. We have another gear we can shift into, and we're going to go out and pester them because there's not that fight back factor. And I don't want to completely take it up because we saw moments through last night's game where the physicality was improved, where the hustle plays were improved. Like when they are building that lead, you're thinking to yourself, God, finally, this team is coming out looking like the team that's down 2-0 in a series, looking like the underdog in a series, diving for loose balls, getting rebounds, something that we didn't see in the first 2 games. Like Jaren was physical at the beginning of this game. And then
he melted.
And then it melted. Yeah. He
melted. That's the truth.
You were an ice sculpture.
I love him. I hope he
me too. And
spends
that's where
his whole
I really
career here and becomes an MVP someday.
I love
he
Des.
melted
They
last
both
night.
melted. Des was what, 2 of 11 from 3?
6'5", 185-pound dude just physically dominated him.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter. 6'5", 185 pounds, physically dominated him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't mean pestered him, like bothered him.
Yeah.
Dominated him in the fourth quarter. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. And what this Thunder team does, because we're obviously doing everything through the prism of the Grizzlies, that's our lives. This Thunder team is so good, and they're too good to a point where they are going to expose your weaknesses, and they're going to shine a bright interrogation-style light on them. And if there's something that Jaren has really struggled with, people on the outside will look at his rebounding because they see a big who doesn't put up big rebounding numbers. He had 7 boards last night. That's good for Jaren. But his playmaking and going up against these Thunder guards, and particularly Alex Caruso, it's really showing that that's an area of weakness. When you're getting triple teamed in the post and you're an all-star and you can't find the open man in that situation, that's problematic. And when you're Desmond Bane, when you can't, I get that he's not a primary ball handler. We have learned that through the season. That is not a surprise. Like, I'm not sitting here coming out of last night like, wow, you know what?
Then stop asking him.
Exactly. You got to stop asking him because he's gonna turn it over. And that is where losing Ja last night, and I don't know if you've said this yet, but I've seen it scattered throughout the internet. I never want to hear someone again say, you know what, I think this team is better without Ja Morant. That's a lie.
You want to know the truth?
That is a downright lie.
For all of Ja Morant's flaws and his lack of consistent availability, he's the only hope you got.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Yes.
He's the only hope you got of this thing ever.
He is your number one.
And it ain't even close.
You can make your argument that a number one needs to be more available, and I think he would be the first person to tell you, yes, I would like to be. He wanted to be back in that game last night. I mean, he went and took those free throws. Like, I know that's what you're supposed to do, but he looked like he was in rough shape. And when he came back out on the crutches, he looked like he was in rough shape. And I know we don't know his official status for Game 4. I'm not real hopeful.
Yeah, there's no reason to be.
And I don't need him to go out and risk something worse. And, if he can play, he would play.
At this point, it's like actually like just
there's not enough Advil in the world sometimes to
at this point,
put you in a position.
At this point, like, as long as we're being honest, it might just be counterproductive to, like, what are you fighting for?
Yeah,
so you can have your star play at 40% so that you can probably lose the game.
Yes.
But then if you win it, get back on a plane and go to Oklahoma City and get your brains beat in. Like, what is, at some point, you do start to ask, what is the point now, given this circumstance? That Ja Morant is probably unavailable for the rest of the season, barring a surprise. And I'll let Grizzlies PR speak for
What
themselves.
time do we get our last Grizzlies PR? This could be, I don't want to.
I would think 5 o'clock today, you'll get out Ja Morant. That's what I would assume.
5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5:01 p.m.
Maybe 5:07.
Out Ja Morant.
I don't know.
What do you think?
So?
I mean, I don't know.
I think in the
playoffs.
I think in the playoffs you try to have an advantage at all times and be vague with
doubtful,
injuries.
Whatever. I hope I'm wrong. I do not expect to see Ja Morant play basketball again until October. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I doubt that I am. There was the one play I went through, and it was just sort of emblematic of how everything unfolded.
Which one did you pick?
I actually picked, because it worked in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. I love the diversity of the play.
Okay.
First, you have Jaren Jackson Jr. missing a 1-footer.
Okay.
But he gets the rebound. And then Alex Caruso just takes it from him.
Okay.
And the ball's on the ground. And there's Zach Edey standing there, and there's John Concho standing there, and there's Jaren Jackson standing there, and there's Alex Caruso standing there. So you got 3 guys in Vancouver jerseys, whether they should be or not. They're in Vancouver jerseys. The Memphis Grizzlies are wearing Vancouver jerseys. And
I love those jerseys.
I love the
too.
way they look. I hate the word Vancouver.
Oh, I don't.
If you want Memphians to care about Memphis, let's emphasize Memphis.
I mean, I'm wearing a Houston.
There is
Oilers
nobody.
jersey,
There is
so
nobody
I
here
can't
who
really
gives a
talk.
shit about Vancouver. Nobody. 99% of the
I've always
people.
wanted to go to Vancouver.
My auntie Susan lives in Vancouver.
99% of the people who call themselves Grizzlies fans couldn't even point on a map and get geographically accurate representation of where Vancouver is. Nobody cares about Vancouver here. Like, this is way above my pay grade. It's another department. They have never asked my opinion on it.
Right.
I don't expect them to consider it. I'm just telling you, as a lifelong Memphian, nobody cares about Vancouver. And I can't tell you how many text messages I get asking me, why are the Memphis Grizzlies wearing Vancouver across their chest? On the long list of stuff that matters, this is way down the list right now. But it is something that people notice, and I don't understand the rationale behind it. You want Memphians to care about Memphis? Throw Memphis on it, right? Throw Memphis on it.
Anyway, that was your play.
Three dudes in Vancouver jerseys are just standing there. Alex Caruso, who is an important player on the 1 seed that's already up 2-0 and could lose this game and come back Sunday and beat up on a John Morant-less Grizzlies team when they get to start at 0-0 instead of down 29. And then you just go back home and then blow out a John Morant-less Grizzlies team, and you move on to the second round and wait for your next opponent. If we're talking about like actual context of a basketball game, there should be no urgency on the Oklahoma City side in that moment last night.
Yeah.
Honestly, smart basketball people would have told them, call it a night. Get everybody out of this and let's just call it a night.
Yeah.
That's what plenty of smart basketball people would have told them. They had no reason to be out fighting you.
They kept Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 5 fouls. Isaiah Hartenstein picks up his 4th foul with like a minute into the first half, and yet there was no intensity of going at either of those guys in the situation, particularly Isaiah Hartenstein. Give the ball to Jaren Jackson Jr., have him work, have him just at least give the opportunity. If you don't even give the opportunity to pick up a foul, all that said, I think your play is the play that everybody will look at. Like, that's the one that makes the rounds. Because it's Caruso, it's Jaren, it's the
I know Ja's on crutches.
Players standing around.
You're up 8 points with 10 minutes to play. I know Ja's on crutches, but he's handed you the baton in a brilliant place. All you got to do is hold on. And clearly you're struggling on offense. You're literally giving the ball away more often than you're getting it through the hoop. That's like 6-year-old stuff. That's like 6-year-old stuff. But you're still up 8 with about 10 to play.
Yeah.
And this other team has nothing to really fight for. If you don't win this game, your season is almost certainly just any hope of anything is ripped away. If you do win this game, you're still probably losing the series, but you know what we're saying today? I'm going, hey, listen, what if, Jess, have you thought about this? What if the reason John never came back, they just ruled him out quickly, is because, like, you're up 26. They don't need him to come back. Let's just rule him out of this. Let him watch it. We'll get this one, and then we'll start working on him, and maybe he can play Saturday. So now it's a 2-1 series, and what if Ja comes back tomorrow? And, hey, don't just focus on what happened last night, but the second half of Game 2 was kind of good for the Grizzlies as well. What if they figured some stuff out? These are the things we'd be talking ourselves probably into a lie, but we'd be talking ourselves.
Talking differently.
But we'd be talking differently.
Yeah.
They've got nothing to play for, practically speaking, in that moment, and your entire season and reputation is hanging in the balance. And that dude jumps on the floor, and all of you watch him. And then he grabs the ball, secures it, and comes up yelling, and then starts laughing at you. I swear to God, if I was 6'10", 285 pounds, and Alex Caruso was walking around a basketball court laughing at me, I don't know how I'd handle that. But it would bother me.
Yeah.
And it should bother everybody. Like,
I have a less sexy play that should bother everybody. Like, this is when I called it. I wrote it down. I said, oh, this is the end. And it was after the Grizzlies, they go up 6, right? 105-99. Jaren had subbed out. They go up 6 after Santi makes a bucket. And Jalen Williams scores on the other end. And then there's a Santi Aldama turnover.
Of course there was.
Another careless error by the Grizzlies. Yeah. So that's indicative of who they were. They only had 3 turnovers in the first half of the game. Remember that? That was wild.
And then like 7 in the third quarter.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, breakaway dunk. He misses the dunk.
Oh, yeah, Caruso's just there to grab it.
Caruso's there, and there's not a single other Grizzlies player there. And it is the easy. Caruso, I'm not down on the court. I'm from up high, so I can't really read his facial expressions. But if I could imagine it, it would be his eyes went.
Well, I guess I'll take this. Nobody else is
here. And there
here.
was even a second between. Not contested, not nothing.
It was
just
in slow motion. I could have grabbed the ball. I could have grabbed the ball and laid it in. This is high-stakes playoff basketball.
It made it a 2-point game. And I was like, oh, you're not going to take advantage of gifts like that, then I don't know what you're going to do.
There was also the other one late. They trap, but they don't know whether to foul or try to play it out. So it just leads to just down there by themselves. Yeah. The game was still in play right there. And it's just a layup. There's nobody else near them. I mean,
I always go to the Eric Hasseltine book of verses. And my favorite this season is that this team is allergic to prosperity.
Yeah.
And anytime there is a gift, and I'm not going to say that nothing's prosperous about losing your star point guard, but like you said, there was a gift of a 27-point lead when he left that game, and there were multiple opportunities, even as the Thunder are coming back. The Thunder weren't perfect last night. God, the Thunder showed that they were human. They were beatable. And even with gifts down the stretch, you coughed away the chance. And it really did feel like a chance. I mean, that's the thing that made last night hurt so excessively bad is when you're sitting there in the first half, you convinced yourself this Grizzlies team could really beat this Thunder team.
You could at least convince yourself this is going to be a blast tonight, and I can't wait for Game 4.
Because if we're doing
if we're doing this to them right now, and we did this to we played with them in the second half the other day, maybe we figured something out. The vibes feel different.
Yeah,
that we can even this thing and turn it into a best of 3 heading back to OKC.
Yeah,
that's the way most people in that building were feeling last night.
Yeah,
and then what happened. But the response to what happened was embarrassing. It just was.
Yeah,
and all the stuff we're talking about, and then I get you out of here because I know you're sleepy. I appreciate your time.
I got dogs to walk anyway, so don't rush on a crowd of me.
Everything we're talking about. How did Alex Caruso just stand under the goal by himself, get an offensive rebound, and be like, hey, like he's at the Y? How did that happen? Why is there a loose ball on the ground? You're fighting for your season. They're just trying to figure out whether they're going to be done with you in 4 or 5 games. But their dude's the one jumping on the floor, and 3 of your dudes aren't. Why is that? It's all culture stuff.
Yes.
You want to know why? If you could talk to Zach Edey, John Concho, or Jaren Jackson Jr. right now and be like, and show them that, and be like, what is going on? They'd be like, it never even occurred to them to get on the floor. And you ready for this? The opposite is true for Alex Caruso. Nothing occurred to him other than get on the floor as quickly as possible. His instincts were to ball on the ground, I'm on the floor. I've been in 1 million college practices, way more college than NBA, but 1 million. That is taught in practices. You ball on the floor, you get on the floor. Now, I watched John Calipari dog cuss players for years for trying to bend over and pick a ball up.
Yeah.
Do not ever bend over and pick a ball up unless you are totally by yourself. You get on the floor. You try to bend over, pick a ball up, college coaches make you run laps. I know you can't treat NBA players like that, but what are we doing?
It was in game.
What are we doing?
In game 2. There was at one point where it was a missed opportunity for that. And I said, whoever ends up being the coach of this team next year, every time you see a play like that, I don't care that you don't do this in the NBA. Run a lap. Add it. Take them to get ice cream at the end of it, but run a lap. Obviously, you're not actually doing that, but it is infuriating.
This ain't a Tuesday night November game against the Hornets. This is Game 3. Your season's on the line.
But you have to do it in the Tuesday night game against the Hornets.
To establish the culture.
We had Brevin on the show yesterday, and I thought Brevin put it perfectly. This team does not hate to lose enough. You have to hate to lose. And that comes in Game 13. That comes in the game going in the All-Star break. That comes to the point where you're not in a position where you give up 3 straight games on your home court in a final possession because you don't find yourself, you find a way to win one of those. You don't give up a 52-point quarter to the Timberwolves and a 50-point quarter to the Pacers. You have to hate to lose more. And you have to have learned something from last season where we were sitting here with no postseason basketball to talk about and saying, God, I can't wait to never feel this again. And now you're back in the postseason and you have second halves like last night and it just feels like lessons weren't learned. And that's a hard thing.
You should hate to lose.
You should really hate to lose.
And yet, when faced with the question, as this season was spiraling away, you'll never get away from this. I'm sure he regrets saying it, but he did say it.
Can't.
But he did say it. when asked to address a season spiraling away, your all-star looked into a camera and said, could be worse, could be homeless. That's the mindset.
And it's really unfortunate because
You know what? Here's the
that's
truth.
the one quote of the
Here is
season.
the
Can you
truth.
remember another quote from the season?
That's the one. Here's the truth. You know what you should feel in that moment? Because here's the truth. Of course it could be worse. All right? Like, I'm pissed off right now about just all sorts of stuff. All right? I'll carry it through the rest of the day with me. But my life could be worse,
There
right?
was a draft pick last night, and forgive me, I forget which one it was, but his mom is on life support. And so he got drafted, and then he was going to go to the hospital and tell his mom that her baby got drafted. And I think it was implied that she might not be awake to understand that information. She's on life support. That's usually what that means. And I was like, it could be worse.
Yeah,
but we do that. But that doesn't take away.
I hate that.
Yes,
I hate
me
it when
too.
people say that. I understand my life could be worse. Everybody's life could
I'm
always be
empathetic
worse.
enough that I can understand that all of those things can exist in different bad realms
Here's
and
what
on
I'm trying to
different
tell you.
scales.
I am not happy right now.
Yeah.
All right? But I also know that I have not been diagnosed yet with pancreatic cancer, so my life could be worse, okay? I could get a pancreatic cancer diagnosis today, and just like that, my life would be worse. So by definition, I agree. By definition, my life could be worse. So could yours. So could Bennett's. So could Jaren Jackson Jr.'s. I get it. Like, you know, if you want to get into a classroom and talk about it. And here's the truth. When you are a basketball player and one of the faces of a franchise, and you are watching your franchise go from 2nd to 8th, and you're watching your coach get fired, I know that it could be worse, but you know how it should feel? It should feel like it couldn't possibly be worse. It should feel that way. I know it's not that way. You could be watching yourself slide from 2nd to 8th and then tear your ACL. It could be worse. Mm-hmm. I know it could be worse. I know you could be homeless. It should feel like hell. It should feel like this is the worst thing I've ever gone through in my life, even if it's not. If you're a real high-level, high-strung, wired a certain way competitor, that shit feels like nothing could be worse.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to feel that way to them, or at least they told us it doesn't. I won't even try to get in anybody's head. I'll just quote them. Could be worse, could be homeless. That's the quote.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where, again, I will always understand what he was trying to say.
I will too.
When he said it.
I will too. It's just not. It's not the thing fans want to hear.
And it's also the
it's,
kind
and
of
it's
thing
also
where
not. It's not the when you were put all these things together. Hey, your season's slipping away. Your coach just got fired. Fans are starting to question everything about you. How do you feel? It could be worse. Now, let's cut straight to Alex Caruso just taking the ball from you over and over again. Yeah, you know, that's one mindset. You either have the mindset of I'm going to take the ball from this dude, or you have a mindset of I might let the ball get taken from me. Those are mindsets. That's culture.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
We could talk through all the basketball stuff if you want to, but right now, in that game last night, and really throughout the last third of the season, you got a mindset problem.
Yeah. And we all sit here and we're frustrated and we're sad and all the emotions because we care. Like, we all care about this team. We all care about its success. Yeah. We want the fun times. I was watching, God, I wanted to laugh like the fans in Los Angeles were last night as Clippers put out horse heads in the front row because Nikola Jokic might get distracted by the horses. And then the Clippers got a big fun win in their new building.
Good.
It was so funny.
Clever.
The Cavs had fake snow in their building this week to symbolize what they've called the Cavalanche all season. When they go on these big runs, they put fake snow falling through the sky. Like, just little things. I want to fight like the Knicks and the Pistons. I want to have a fight.
Well, you could have. There was a moment.
There was a moment.
You could have.
There absolutely was a moment. But just something, and instead, like, we're left talking about this, and it's not very fun. It's not what any of us would prefer to do. Some people always think like, oh, I bet people in sports media love when it's like the crash out time. No,
you want
to know what I love?
I like
the fun
laughing.
times.
I like laughing.
I love being happy.
I like just showing Ja Morant dunks and crossovers.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things in the world.
And just over and over again and laughing at them. You know, those are the things I enjoy doing.
I like fighting for these players, right?
Yeah.
I like saying, you don't understand. You're not here. You're not in Memphis. You don't get it. There's more value than you understand. But on national television last night, it makes it increasingly difficult to make that case.
Yeah. Like I'd rather be talking about happy things and better things, but I'm also not a liar. I'm not going to watch something and then tell you I didn't see what I saw.
Right.
You know, I saw a team fall apart. I saw supposed stars melt.
Yes.
I saw them get out-efforted again by a team that had no reason to be fighting the way they were fighting. The Grizzlies had every reason to be fighting the way the Thunder were fighting, and the Thunder had no real reason to be fighting. Other than that's just a part of their culture. They don't even know how to do anything but fight. That's just it. They don't know how to do anything but fight. So they just kept fighting. And the other team melted. In that, they just melted.
And that's the thing. Like, I do believe that there's a difference between players who are inherent a-holes. Like, I did this exercise yesterday on a scale of Draymond Green to Mike Conley. Like, there's a lot of variability in there. And you can learn to be more of a fighter based on culture. That can teach you how to react. I don't mean literally fight, but dive on the ball for...
I don't think you have to be an a-hole to be a competitor.
Exactly, me neither. But then there is also the element of last night, you don't have the a-hole. And you kind of need an a-hole on your team. And we do not have to go back in time and like rewrite the situation that led to Dillon Brooks no longer being a part of this group. But it has become abundantly clear that like that is why you do want someone like that on your roster, because it means more than the actual play.
There is no getting around that. And I admit, I had a blind spot for this too. I wanted Dillon Brooks out of here too. But they lost something when they lost him, and they have not replaced it with somebody else. My hope was get him out of here, but replace that with something. And it hasn't been replaced. And that was crystal clear.
And it was attempted to be replaced by Marcus Smart, and now he's not here too. And now we have people calling in on the postgame show asking, what do we give Jake LaRavia away for? And that's the place where we're at. You know?
That's wild.
But it's true. I mean,
no, it's true.
It's true. Jake LaRavia played last night. If he was here, yes.
All questions are reasonable questions when something happens like this.
Yeah.
All right.
All questions are reasonable questions.
All questions are reasonable
Maybe not
questions.
all. You don't hear all the calls, Gary.
Okay. I don't hear all the calls. I agree. All the questions can't possibly be reasonable, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. You have a wonderful weekend.
Oh, thanks.
I'll see you on Monday morning.
You too.
Bye-bye. That's Jessica Benson, host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, weekdays, 8 a.m. We come back, turn our attention to the NFL draft. Cam Ward did go number 1 to the Titans last night. Travis Hunter, number 2. Shadur Sanders, still a man without a team. Wild night in the NFL draft. We'll talk through it next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
In honor of George Foreman, decided to do a pick 6 on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
the new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Night 1 of the NFL Draft was held last night in Green Bay, and as expected, Miami quarterback Cam Ward went first overall to Bennett's Tennessee Titans. Bennett, I know you were inside FedEx Forum.
Yeah.
You probably had to watch this on an iPad or a phone or a computer, but still, like, that's kind of a cool moment. Like, you know, perhaps your favorite professional football franchise changed its fate last night. When we look back on the best years you ever have as a Titans fan, perhaps last night will be the beginning of that story.
God, I hope so.
Man, I do too.
No, it was cool, like, seeing his... And I saw a lot of people talking about this. I didn't get the chance to, like, pay attention to the broadcast, like, super hard, but I did notice he didn't get a lot of shine for being the number 1 overall pick. Like, they moved on pretty damn quickly to talking about Shedeur Sanders and the rest of the draft. I was just like, are you kidding me? We, like, finally get the number 1 overall pick, and, like, we're going to talk about it for 2 minutes? Like, give me a break,
You
dude.
felt disrespected.
There was some disrespect there. Now, like, and again, it's, like... It's hard to be super excited just because of, like, what happened last night, and, like, you know, I'm Grizzlies first and foremost. I'm a Memphian first and foremost. Let's never get that twisted.
It was a night of mixed emotions for you.
It was a night of mixed emotions, but
you had a night of mixed emotions.
But I told you, it's not my fault. I'm a Titans fan. It's just the team that I chose when I was a child.
I don't hold that against you.
And so that is the team that I ride with.
I love that you're loyal.
That is the team that I ride with.
I love that you're a Memphian without anti-Nashville sentiment.
Yes.
Because though I understand it, I don't personally hold that either.
Yeah,
I don't hate Nashville. Every time I go there, I enjoy myself just fine.
There are years that I'm sure you hated being a Mets fan.
Oh, sure.
Probably
decades.
more than not. Decades. But you kept cheering for them.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is.
Here.
It's the team you pick.
Yeah.
You got to ride with them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm excited. I'm just glad to have something to be excited about this season. I'm excited to have a new quarterback. I'm excited Will Levis isn't my quarterback. I'm excited for the future, and I have no expectations.
I wish I was excited for the future.
Nothing like that. Like, I'm excited to watch him play this season. He got emotional when he went up there on the stage.
Wouldn't you though? Like, wouldn't you get
Cam.
emotional, man?
Let's
like
go,
that
Cam.
is a dream come true.
He just landed in Nashville. I'm looking at him getting off the plane.
Look at you. That's my favorite thing about the NFL draft. I watch it every year that I can. I was inside FedEx Forum last night, so I couldn't, but I watch it every year that I can. It's actually interesting, like on the drive to FedEx Forum, Oliver was with me, and, he plays Madden, and he doesn't, like, sit down on a Sunday and just watch football all day long. Mm-hmm. But he has a pretty decent understanding of, like, what's going on in the NFL. And
oh, yeah. You probably know, if you play Madden, you probably know the league.
But it's between Madden and YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not by turning on Channel 3 and watching football.
Right.
It's not watching Monday Night Football. It's just not something we do. Mm-hmm. But he just kind of has an understanding of what's going on in the NFL, and it's YouTube, and it's Madden, and then it's just like, friends talking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was really interested in the draft last night, and so we got to talk. We listened to, we turned on ESPN radio and listened to the pre-draft stuff, and we turned on NFL radio. My buddy Jason Horowitz, who I used to work with at CBS Sports, he was hosting the draft coverage for NFL radio.
Nice.
So we listened to that for a little while. And I will be honest, as you were feeling disrespected about Cam Ward. He did not ask me a single question about Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. Do you know what he wanted to ask me about? He asked me about 3 players.
Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and
Jackson Dart because of Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, Ole Miss. Yeah, gotcha.
He asked me about 3 players. None of them were Cam Ward, and he was mostly interested in the Colorado duo. We talked about this when Deion first took off at Colorado, so roughly 2 years ago. Like somehow that story and the Travis Hunter story and the Shedeur Sanders story all permeated my kids' iPads. Mm-hmm. Like they became aware of Deion and Travis Hunter not because of me. It just entered
organically.
It entered their world. So he was most interested in that. And so while you're wondering why are they moving on so quickly to Travis Hunter, it's because that's what people want to. That's what people care about. All due respect.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. Travis Hunter goes second.
I'm used to the disrespect of every team that I care about.
Travis Hunter goes second, and it comes after a trade. And I've read both columns. You tell me which one's true. The Cleveland Browns had an opportunity to select one of the most dynamic football players we've ever seen, and they pass on it. That's why you're the Cleveland Browns. I saw that column, and then I saw this column. The Browns are smart not to get caught up in the Travis Hunter thing, and they'll recoup some draft picks, and this is an organization finally acting intelligently. Like 2 completely different points of view. Mm-hmm. Which one's true?
I agree with the first one, and I said this to Darnell because we were kind of arguing both points. Mm-hmm. If the Browns are a downtrodden franchise, we can all acknowledge that, right?
Easily.
Yeah.
Do it whenever you want.
When you have the number 2 pick and that guy is the most exciting player, like maybe outside of a quarterback, maybe outside of Cam Ward, but he's the most exciting player in the first round, Travis Hunter.
Oh, buddy, he ain't going to be hard to sell Travis Hunter jerseys.
That's exactly what I said.
And I don't even mean it like you should be drafting people based on jersey sales. That's
okay,
stupid.
but he's going to be awesome.
You just, everybody else seems to think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be awesome, and you're the Browns. Give your fans something to be excited about. Again, it might have been the right football decision, and we may look up in 2 years and say, well, look what they did. They got all those picks, and then they got their quarterback the next year, and they're just doing it the right way. But, man, if I'm a Browns fan, I would be pissed because I just want something to be excited about. Again, I got no expectations for the Titans next year. I don't think their roster is going to be that great. I can't wait to watch Cam Ward play. Right. I'm fired up. I'll be watching every game. I'm going to try to go to a game.
That's where I'm at, man. You had a chance to take a dude that little kids from Mississippi care about.
That's right.
And you just passed on it. And maybe we'll look up in 5 years and it'll be the smartest thing they ever did. But it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's the smartest thing they ever did. I see in the chat somebody asked, did we ever get this care package from Coach Prime? Do you remember me talking about this?
I do remember.
So this woman, just one day I was talking about how my kids were suddenly asking me about Travis Hunter and Coach Prime. My kids were not asking me about Ole Miss or Memphis or Seth Hennigan. My kids don't know who Seth Hennigan is, probably.
Well, we went a little viral for one of your Coach Prime takes.
So one of those things, and it got caught up on Instagram, and I saw Deion liked it, and then I checked my DMs, and this woman who was seemed to be a personal assistant to Deion, or she was connected to Travis Hunter. She lived in that world, and she's like, Coach Prime saw your videos. Travis did. That's so cute. Can I get an address and some sizes? They would like to send your boy some stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I gave it, and that was the last I heard of it. It never materialized. But
I think there might have been a critical take after that. Maybe they caught wind of that. Yeah.
Maybe I went viral again for saying, when is Colorado ever going to win another game?
That hurt you.
I don't remember exactly. But no, the care package never arrived. Still, we'll see on the Travis Hunter thing, but Cam Ward 1, Travis Hunter 2, and then, oh buddy,
reach, by the way.
The story became the Shedeur Sanders story.
Yep. Oh yes,
that was my cue.
That was my cue. I forgot.
Shedeur Sanders. It is right now 11:20 a.m. Central on April 25th, 2025. This is day 2 of the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders still has not been picked. He does not have a franchise. I know you remember just yesterday. I said, have you seen Pete Prisco's latest mock draft at CBSSports.com? And you said, I haven't. And I said, where do you think he's got Shedeur going?
Yep.
You said some stuff and you said some stuff. And I said, nope, keep going lower. And eventually I was able to tell you, he doesn't have him going in the first round. He thinks he's going to slip completely out of it.
Okay.
And that is what happened. Do you understand why? Why do you think this happened?
Well, because I said to you, there's no way he's getting past the Steelers at 21, which I have no idea what they're doing. Their starting quarterback right now is Mason Rudolph.
I'm about to tell you what they're doing once you finish.
Yeah, I don't know what the Steelers are doing.
I know what they're doing.
But once they did that he wasn't taken there, I was like, okay, he's falling out of the first round because nobody after that needed a quarterback. So
two incredible red flags for Shedeur Sanders that happened last night. And we don't need any anonymous scouts, anonymous front office members, throwing reckless quotes here and there. We just have to focus on what we saw happen last night. Two things happened last night that should be major concerns. The Steelers need a quarterback. All reports were that they were seriously considering you. And when it came time to make a decision, you know what they said? We don't want this guy in our franchise. That's what they said. We don't want this. When you if you draft in this guy, you are putting your franchise in his hands, and we don't want that. Now, why did they not want that? Probably a combination of a lot of stuff, but it should be concerning. If I were Shedeur Sanders, I would look in the mirror and be like, why did they not want me?
I think the next one's even more concerning.
Another franchise traded up to get Jackson Dart.
And I was like immediately like, oh, here comes the Shedeur pick.
Somebody else decided we want to move up and get a quarterback, but they didn't want you. They wanted the dude from Ole Miss.
I'm going to be honest, though. And maybe it is a red flag, but I don't know. I think teams might be overthinking this.
Maybe.
I think teams
we'll figure it all out later.
Yeah.
No way to know right now. But I did become interested in the whys. I don't need to know what happened. I know what happened. He slipped all the way through the first round, and now he's still waiting to get picked. Why did that happen? And it seems to be a combination of a lot of stuff, including the actual football. I read one column that was really good. I don't even know if I agreed with every point, but it was just really well written and well argued. I appreciate a good column like that. I don't know if I agreed with every word, but it was well done, if that makes sense. It was a well done column, whether I agree with every word or not. But the point this person made was, just because folks go on TV, Dion included, and tell you there's no quarterback prospect better than Shedeur Sanders doesn't make it true. And it's never been true. If you actually go break down the football stuff of this, leave all the other stuff alone for a minute, because you don't need to leave it completely alone, but leave it alone for now. If you go just do the football stuff, first off, he's 6'1". He's not some perfectly built quarterback. He's a small quarterback. He's got above average arm strength, but not elite arm strength. His pressure to sack ratio is awful. He's a good athlete, not a great one. He didn't run away from defensive linemen the way you'd like. When he gets pursued, he gets tackled a lot. So the football stuff just ain't as. This is a little bit like LeBron telling you for years Bronny could play in the NBA right now. No, he couldn't. That's crazy. And what also appears to be crazy is Dion saying, this is the best quarterback available in the NFL draft. He's been saying it for multiple years, but what football people are saying is that was just never actually true. I saw one study where they took X amount of quarterbacks from last year and the quarterbacks from this year, the high-level ones that could theoretically be picked in the first round. They either were last year picked in the first round or could be this year. And Shedeur ranked last. And forget the other stuff, just football. We're just looking strictly at the football stuff. And this algorithm ranked him last among those prospects. So there seems to be football problems here that have not been properly framed for the mass at large. In other words, you sat down in front of your TV last night and was like, is Shedeur Sanders going in the top 10? The football stuff never suggested that. That's what all this study stuff I read earlier today said. And then there is also the other stuff that comes with Shedeur Sanders. He didn't play in the whatever game, didn't work out for anybody individually, had one public press conference, that's it, and was just not the easiest person to deal with. If you're trying to get to know him, trying to see him, they did not make that simple for NFL franchises. And at some point, these franchises were like, we're not sure on the football stuff. We don't really love the off-the-field stuff. So what are we doing? Let's just let him go. That would be the one. I know Mike Tomlin, or I assume Mike Tomlin isn't the final, he does whatever he wants to do, decision maker in that franchise on everything. But I think if Mike Tomlin believes in you, you're probably the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so what that means, what that would tell me if I'm Shedeur Sanders is like, Mike Tomlin, who is among the most respected men in this league, the guy who knows when you put up with so-and-so or cut loose Le'Veon Bell. Like he knows who's who, right? That guy didn't want me. That would bother me. Mike Tomlin needs somebody like me, but he didn't want me. That would bother me.
Well, you'll have a chance to get revenge on him because Shedeur will be a Cleveland Brown. They have 2 of the next 4 picks.
We'll see. We'll see.
He's going to be a Brown. That's why the Travis Hunter thing is so dumb. You could add both of them.
Do you realize that, and you may be right, I don't know, but quarterbacks don't really get picked in the second round?
I think that it's.
I read this last night.
There has only been one.
There's been one quarterback selected in the second round of the last 3 years combined.
That is kind of wild.
Do you know who it is?
Who?
Will Levis.
How about that? Oh yeah, that's right.
Past 3 drafts,
because he slipped and he was in the green room.
The past 3 second rounds of the NFL draft, there's been one quarterback picked, Will Levis. People were using that to say, if you're certain he's going in the second round, just know quarterbacks usually don't. But the Browns do have multiple picks, so maybe he does. Either way, he's still available, and I wish him luck. I thought he did handle it pretty well last night. You know, he held an uncomfortable sort of press conference and just sort of thanked everybody for being there and, you know, shouted out God. And, you know, he seemed... That's a devastating night for you.
For sure.
I mean, less than a year ago, whether it was ever true or not, you've got it in your head you're going to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, that's right.
There was even a time where these were actual conversations.
This is your draft.
You ready? Like, but what if this franchise gets the number 1 pick? Would Shedeur go back to school so he didn't have to go there? This is the stuff people were saying. And then it turns out, like, nobody wants you, man. Not in the first round.
Well, I want to...
Hey, forget about where you would like to play and who you might tell not to draft you. Buddy, we all told you we don't want you on night 1. That's tough.
I want to go on record and say that I think he's going to be good.
We'll see.
I think he's going to be good.
I hope so. I root for people, not against them, but that should be an eye-opening experience for him. It will either be the first big sign of what's to come, or it'll be the moment that is the opening scene of a movie filled with disappointment, and then from there it just takes off into being a wonderful professional career. We'll see.
Number 3.
Hugh Grant went on a little rant.
What's up, Hugh?
I guess he does that sometimes. You know Hugh Grant, Golden Globe winner.
Of course I know Hugh Grant.
You're a film guy, so you know Hugh Grant.
Of course I know Hugh Grant.
Okay.
I've seen Notting Hill.
I mean, you've seen Notting Hill. He has called his children's private school, quote, pathetic. Pathetic.
Oh.
For how often they are requiring his children to be on screens, whether Chromebooks or iPhones. Perhaps this is the old man in him coming out, but his big issue is we all know deep down these screens are bad for our children.
Yes.
Even Steve Jobs will tell you this if he were here to say it. And yet in school, they're handing them to you? Like, it's one thing when, hey, mom and dad are at home and everybody's busy and, you know, mom's trying to get work done and dad's trying to, you know, get some laundry done and here's an iPad if you want to watch Bluey for a second. Like, we've all been there, and even if that's not healthy
daily,
we've all been there. And those are decisions you make.
A lot of Bluey.
Those are decisions you make within your home. But why am I paying, I'm assuming, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to send my kids to a private school, and these teachers are shoving screens in their hands? We know it's not good for them. Why are you doing it?
What the hell happened to a good old-fashioned book?
What did happen to a good old-fashioned book? When's the last time you even saw a book?
I read books.
You don't read books.
I read books.
You don't hold a book.
I hold books in my hand.
When's the last time you caressed a book?
Dude, I caressed a book the other day. I read books. I can read. I like to read.
Name the last book you completed.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Well, I haven't completed it yet.
Okay, so that was a wrong answer.
But I'm in the process of reading it.
Okay.
House of the Dragon. That's so cringe. I'm embarrassed.
It's one thing.
Oh, it's called Fire and Blood. It's called Fire and Blood.
That's like you're bragging about being a reader, and then you expose yourself. You're really just a dragon reader.
No, I read other stuff too. Those were the
I
last
read.
two that
Shakespeare?
I read.
No, dragon
I read
books.
the entire Game of Thrones
I know
series.
you dick. Well, good.
And then he didn't finish it.
I know,
and then he
I
had the
heard.
spin-offs, and I read those. There's nothing. It's still a book. It still counts.
I used to be one of those people who would love to tell you how much I read. I'd love to tell you how much I read. I even bought a bookshelf just so I could put books on it.
I didn't tell you. You're the one that was like, when's the last time you read a book?
No, you literally said, I like to read. I'm a reader.
Because reading's important.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I used to be like you. I used to love to tell people how much I read.
I don't love to tell people that.
I know what you're going through. I've been there. I came out the other side of it. Maybe you will too.
I don't.
Oh, I used to have a prominent bookcase in my little shitty apartment.
I don't even have that.
Oh, look, here's J.D. Salinger. Could I tell you a little bit about J.D. Salinger?
I love Catcher in the Rye. It's a great book. What can I say?
It's a great book. It is a great book. It is a great book. All right. Oh, you want to talk about The Great Gatsby? Let me pull it out. I highlighted some stuff that I like. Would you like? Let me show you this passage. Oh, I've done all the stuff you're doing.
I got it.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Ask me right now if I'm a reader.
Are you a reader?
I read tweets.
Okay. So do I.
I read columns.
Okay.
That's about as far as it goes.
I mean, dude, I don't think I was that off base. Like, listen, I'll tell you about my movie collection. I'll tell you about all the Blu-rays that I bought and every movie that I've ever watched. But I don't think I was boasting about reading here.
You were trying to brag I'm a reader.
I'm just an average reader, like every human should be.
I used to be like you. You brag about reading.
I'm
Makes
not
me
bragging.
Look smart.
I'm an average reader.
Makes me look smart. Oh, look
I'm
how
a
smart
basic reader.
Look how smart I am. Look how smart I am.
I'm the basic bitch of reading.
I got Jack Kerouac here. Here's my hardcover.
On the road, I have that one too. I got that one too.
Oh,
don't test me. I'm a reader.
We all have Jack Kerouac if we're trying to brag about being a reader. That's the first thing you do. That's the first thing you do is buy Jack Kerouac.
It is one of the first ones you get. It is. It just is.
When you're trying to show yourself as a reader, you can't do it without a copy of On the Road in your apartment.
Without question, cannot. I have one.
I have one
but
too.
But it's an old copy. It's old and worn down. I can bring it in and show you. It ain't new. It ain't a new copy.
You want me to tell you when I bought my On the Road? When I was like 20.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I still got it.
I think that's when I bought my copy.
I can't tell you how many little blinds I showed Jack Kerouac books back in the day.
Sitting right there, front and center. What's that book? Oh, let me tell you about On the Road. Well, you might not understand, but
you've been hanging out with the goofy football players. Baby, did you know I'm a journalism major?
You heard of Jack Kerouac?
Have you heard of Jack Kerouac?
That's wow.
I used to be like you, man. I used to be just like you.
I'm not like that. I'm not like that.
I used to be just like you.
I'm not like that.
I used to be just like you, man.
All right. What did he have to say?
I would even buy J.D. Salinger stuff that you ain't never heard of, as little of it as there is, just to be like, well, if you like Catcher in the Rye, have you ever heard of Zoe and whatever? Oh, buddy, I had it down. I was so good at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever impressed anybody. I'm confident I look like
never
a
did
douche.
Either. Yeah.
I'm confident
it didn't work.
I'm confident there's I'm confident it didn't play as well as I thought it was.
John said Hunter S. Thompson. I've got 10 Hunter S. Thompson books on my shelf. Every single one of them. Hell's Angels, The Rum Diary, all of Fear and Loathing, every one of them.
Fear and Loathing.
They're all there.
But you got to make sure you're Fear and Loathing. You can't be
can't be front and center.
No, your Fear and Loathing cannot have Johnny Depp on the cover.
Oh, no. Don't get the one that has the movie.
No.
You bought that like a year ago.
No, you
got to
have.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be able to say as honestly as you can. Yeah, Fear and Loathing. Like, I read this. It's probably, I read it.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but then, about 15 years after I read it, Johnny Depp made a movie.
Yeah.
You got to be able to frame it like that.
The movie's okay, but the book.
I mean, if you like the movie, you haven't read the book? Oh, look at this. Here's my Fear and Loathing. Not the one with Johnny Depp on the cover. That's a dead giveaway.
God, and that is what I do with every time anyone brings up House of the Dragon. I'm like, have you read the book?
I used to be like you. I know you because I used to be you. I used to randomly brag about reading too. I used to think people would think I was cool if I could prove to them that I read a book. But you know what? At this age, I'm not even trying to lie to anybody anymore. I don't read books anymore. I might listen to one if I get bored, but I'm not reading a book. I'm done with book reading.
I still like to read. Shout out novel.
I knocked out Great Gatsby. I read
that too.
I knocked out Catcher in the Rye, and I feel like that's all I got on the road.
That's all you got. Okay.
And I got Fear and Loathing, and that's all I need, I think.
Good.
From this point forward, I'm reading tweets.
Okay.
That's the extent of my. Good. So if you want to hear me bragging about, they'd be like, does GP read? Yes, he reads. He said he reads tweets. I'll read tweets, columns. Anything bigger than that, I ain't got time for it no more. I used to be like you. I used to try to impress people just like you, but I grew out of it. I think you'll grow out of it too.
Whatever.
One day you'll be more comfortable. You'll be more comfortable with who you actually are, and you'll stop having to trick people into thinking you're a reader when you're not. You'll realize that there's no real value in that, and also that folks probably see right through it.
Okay, fair enough.
Hugh Grant,
reading's important.
Hugh Grant thinks kids should be on screens less.
Hugh agrees.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
All right.
I think we can all agree on that.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Number 4.
Penny Hardaway got another commitment yesterday. Doug McDaniel. You familiar with Doug McDaniel?
Kind of, yeah. Kansas State, yep.
Yeah, like talented guy. Started his career at Michigan, transferred to Kansas State. This will be his third school in 4 years. This, of course, follows the commitment of Aaron Bradshaw from Ohio State. Memphis will be his third school in 3 years. And I don't say this as I just say it as something that's true. It is interesting, like the aisle that Penny is shopping on right now. It reminds me of something that happened with Tiger basketball previously, and I completely understand why it's happening, but I think it's important to pick up on what is happening here. They clearly don't have the type of money to go out and bang heads with the top portal teams in the country. They just don't. Like, there's a reason why you're seeing St. John's add another big-time guy literally almost every day. Mm-hmm. And Texas Tech's got crazy money, and there's a lot of schools that can just – I'll just keep it factual. Texas Tech told its second-team All-American, we'll give you $4 million if you don't go in the transfer portal and if you don't go through the NBA draft process. And he said, okay. Memphis can't do that with its second-team All-American. Texas Tech could. Memphis cannot. Mm-hmm. All right? So where are you going to build your team from? There's a certain standard with this program that is well above the standard of other AAC programs. So just trying to build the best AAC team you're going to build, they're going to do that anyway.
Right.
But that's not the standard. You don't want to, as a Memphis basketball fan, look up and go, we're better than UAB and UTSA, but our roster is nowhere close to Ole Miss's or Mississippi State's or Tennessee's or Arkansas's. Mm-hmm. That's not the Memphis basketball program I grew up with.
Right.
So you want to have talent. You need like high major talent. But you can't bang heads with Texas Tech and Arkansas and Kentucky and Louisville and St. John's and Indiana in the transfer portal. They got way more money than you. So how do you get comparable talent with less money? You take flawed players with baggage. And that is the common denominator between the Aaron Bradshaw commitment and the Doug McDaniel commitment. They are both incredibly talented basketball players with real baggage. Again, these are just facts. Both of these dudes have been suspended by their schools previously for off-the-court issues of some kind. That's a fact. Aaron Bradshaw for a domestic incident that happened at an off-campus apartment. It was reportedly investigated, and Ohio State allowed him to return to the team. So we can leave that there. Mm. But he did miss games last season because of an incident that happened off the court. That's a fact. And Doug McDaniel, this is just hilarious. I've never even heard of something like this. A couple years ago at Michigan, they suspended him for road games. Just road games. They said his academics were so, I don't want to put words in their mouth. These are my words, lackluster. His academics were so disappointing lacking.
That you got to do something.
That we'll allow you to play in home games, but you're not traveling with the team anymore. You're going to stay back on campus and study. I've literally never heard of that before.
Really weird.
Have literally never heard of that before, but that's where he was a couple years ago. Juwan Howard announced at the time he was the coach at Michigan that Doug McDaniel will not travel to road games because he's got to get his academics in order, and we don't need to be pulling him away from campus. He needs to study more. That's more or less the sentiment. So that's the aisle Penny is shopping on. Grab talented guys, but with baggage. And you just hope it doesn't blow up on you. Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? Early in John Calipari's tenure. He's John Calipari. You expect him to compete with the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the everybody's in the world. Mm-hmm. He's making either at the time $1 million or close to $1 million. He's a big name. He's been to a Final Four at UMass. He's trying to roster build at Memphis. What he found out pretty quickly is my fan base wants me to recruit 5 stars, but I can't beat Duke and Kentucky and these other schools for these 5 stars without baggage. So you know the type of 5 stars he recruited? Sean Banks. Super talented. Also documented gang member.
Yeah.
But
that
super
was
talented.
A wild time.
Okay. Just as talented as the young man going to Duke, but Duke don't want this dude. Kentucky doesn't want this guy. He's just as talented as the dudes they're taking, but nobody wants him. So I'll take him. That's how I'll get my NBA prospect. That's how you end up recruiting Kendrick Perkins, Amari Stoudemire, because the other big programs aren't recruiting them. You want to know why? They don't think they're coming to school, so they just skip them completely. Well, you know you can't go recruit the borderline pros head-to-head with Duke and Kentucky, not at that moment. So you recruit the ones that fewer people are recruiting. You can get the commitments, but you never got them in school. This kind of feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are players just as talented as Aaron Bradshaw and Doug McDaniel who have been in that portal, but those players are going to Michigan and, St. John's and Louisville for lots of money. Those players are just as talented, but without the baggage. These are the similarly talented dudes, but with the baggage. Well, they're a little cheaper. It's like they're, a car with a dent in it.
Yep.
You got this car, and it's the same as this car. Like they drive, they get the same miles per gallon. They, they can go the same speeds and same year, same miles. But this one's got busted up bumper.
Yep.
And like the steering wheel could flip out and take you into a tree at any moment.
Yep.
Which car you want? You can get this one for like half the price. The steering wheel might take you into a tree, but you can get the same car basically for the same price. Just it's been banged on a little bit.
Yep.
That's what's happening right now.
It's just, to me, it's going to be all about, I know it sounds simple, but it's just going to be all about chemistry. Like if this is how you're going to build rosters every year. It's going to, like 2 years ago, you bring in some new guys, talented guys. They didn't get along. The team cratered. Last year, you bring in a bunch of new faces. They all got along great. There was great team chemistry, and the team was really good. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the most important thing.
I'm open-minded about all of this. I'm not making any big predictions. But if you're a Memphis fan and you're looking for reasons to be, it's because they have just taken commitments from 2 people who have been problems other places. That's just the truth. They've just taken commitments from 2 super talented dudes, but they have both been problems in their own ways at other universities. Hopefully, fresh start leads to fresh results.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to hope for.
For sure.
But both of these most recent commitments have been problems at other places to different degrees. And, it's noticeable. It's noticeable.
Number 5.
Scary story involving Elijah Arenas, son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas. Is involved in a scary vehicle accident yesterday in California. He was in a Cybertruck, hit a fire hydrant, hit a tree. The fire hydrant, boom, water everywhere. Thank God, perhaps, because that might have been helpful with the fire because the Cybertruck did catch fire. He was trapped inside.
Damn.
Like, it is not an exaggeration to think if good Samaritans just don't happen to come to the rescue, he could have just burned to death or inhaled so much smoke that he doesn't make it out of there. But some wonderful people helped get him out of there. And there's video. He's on the ground in a puddle of water, almost like struggling to breathe. It's almost like he saw water and just jumped in it because he was so, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But like that's just terrifying. He was placed into a coma. They induced a coma because of smoke inhalation. The good news, he's out of that now.
Good.
No broken bones, no physical injuries of note is the latest reporting, but the smoke inhalation is a deal. It appears he's going to be hopefully okay.
Good.
It's not as bad as it sounded when we first heard about this yesterday afternoon, but just terrifying, man.
Yeah,
you're going to go through this someday.
I know. I'm never getting my kids a car.
Like it's like I don't monitor Aiden's driving every day now, but there was a time when he first got his car and we had the Life 360 app, and I would just, as I was sitting here doing the show, it would just sitting in front of me would be the Life 360 app, and he'd be driving, and I'd just be watching him drive around, waiting for something bad to happen.
Why has he stopped there?
There was one night, in all seriousness, when he was in high school, he played lacrosse for like a year at Lausanne, and the whole team was going to the rendezvous after the game on like a Friday night. And he was like, can I go with them and drive? And, he was new at the school and like people are inviting him out. I didn't want to take that away from him, but I was a nervous wreck. Yeah, go. Just be very careful, please. On the way home, it's like 11 o'clock at night, whatever. And his car just stops on the interstate. I'm watching the 360 app because I'm crazy. And it just stops on the interstate, 0 miles per hour suddenly. It's just sitting there on the side of the interstate at 0 miles per hour. I go wake Kelly up. We got to go. I called him. He won't answer. We got to go. He's just been sitting there for 4 minutes. It makes no sense that he'd be sitting on the side of the interstate for 4 minutes. Something's wrong. I'm throwing him clothes and like racing out of the house. He finally calls back. He was pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
He had changed. I don't know what he was doing. It was a minor traffic violation. He was, but I got flipped out. That's the way you every day of your life is that kind of nervousness, anxiety once your kids start driving. And what you just hope is you never actually get the phone call Gilbert Arenas clearly got.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Hopefully it's a good ending. Sounds like it probably will be. Thoughts with that family, man. Just that's the nightmare.
Yeah.
That's the nightmare. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
There's nothing like playoff basketball.
Boys, nothing like playoff basketball in Memphis.
The atmosphere of a Grizzlies playoff game is super exciting.
Oh my God, it's absolutely electric. I love seeing the crowd out.
Everybody's just screaming their heads off. You feel like you're in a movie. People are down here. Everyone's got on their Grizz gear.
The city's excited. Everybody's excited to watch. There's really nothing like it, and I really can't wait.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
I need cameras to capture every waking moment between Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the same team. The pregame prayers will be generational.
Because that's preacher and a deacon. That's what we're talking about here. That prayer's going to be 40 minutes. We're going to miss the anthem.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff, but let me continue the conversation we were just having connected to the Elijah Arenas accident out in California. Clearly he was in a Tesla, and I'm assuming he didn't have it in self-driving mode, and that's how you end up hitting a fire hydrant at 4:55 in the morning. But one of the things that does make me less nervous about my younger boys eventually driving is that very soon, like perhaps by the time they are driver's license eligible, these cars are going to be so advanced, they're not going to have to drive. You realize that? Like I just Googled just to confirm I'm not speaking out of turn. It is expected that in the United States of America, like broadly speaking, in not just New York and Seattle and LA and Miami, but like in Memphis, sometime in the 2030s, you're going to see driverless cars just everywhere, just all over. You can see them now some places. In urban areas, like the AI overview on Google is like, you're seeing that now.
I saw Eric, he got a Uber with a self-driver.
But it's going to be in the 2030s when like those are just everywhere.
Yeah.
And I can get in my car right now, and once I get out of this parking garage, and I could probably just get out of the parking garage, I've never tested it, but as soon as I get out of this parking garage, I can literally touch a thing on my screen that says home, and it will take me home.
That's crazy.
It will take me right to my driveway. It might tell me to touch the wheel every once in a while if it sees me looking at my phone or getting distracted, but how about this? I don't want to over-exaggerate it. I could do this for 100% sure. Hit home, take this finger, set it on the wheel like this, and just drive home like this, and never do anything, and it would take me right to my driveway. So where's that technology going to be 5 years from now? I'm telling you, I've only had the stupid car for about a year and a half, and the technology has advanced like it feels like 1 billion times just in that span. So where are we going to be by the time my younger boys are driving? I don't think they'll. I'm not certain they'll ever have to drive. They might, but I'm not certain they ever will have to drive. And I'd prefer it that way because kids driving, that's nerve-wracking, buddy. I don't want no part of that.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm taking you to the Target Center.
Okay.
Downtown Minneapolis.
All right.
Just there last weekend. 8:30 tip on ESPN. Lakers and the Timberwolves series tied 1-1. Man, wouldn't it be nice to have a series tied 1-1?
That'd be amazing. Or just like 1-2. Yeah.
Any of it.
Yeah.
Anything better than 0-3. Minnesota, 3.5-point favorite. Total 207.5. How you going to act? You lost last night by a half point.
Oh, man.
Knicks won by 2.
I don't like this spot.
You had the Pistons plus 1.5. You lost last night by a half a point.
My heart's screaming Lakers. My heart is screaming Lakers. You know I love my king.
I love my king, too.
You know I love my king. You know I think Luka's the best player in the league.
You've been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
You should have talked to Nico about that.
I'm going to go Timberwolves.
What are you doing?
I know.
You just said.
I know.
Okay. You want the points. You want the points. No, you're laying points. You're laying 3.5.
I'm going Timberwolves.
You don't trust the Lakers.
This is game 3, right? Yeah,
this
I'm going Timberwolves.
This is the Lakers back in the land of the lakes. This is the Lakers back in the land of the lakes.
Give me the Timberwolves.
Bennett said he's laying points.
Like it,
minus 3.5. Bennett said he's laying points tonight. 8:30 tip on ESPN.
What are we watching on TV?
I guess we're watching SmackDown.
Yeah.
Tonight on USA Network. How you feeling about things coming out of WrestleMania? The Rock been getting beat up this week.
Oh, yeah. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so?
Rightfully so, I think. And I'm a fan. I think it's going to be not a good one. I'm not that excited because it's Raw after Mania. Now you're back on your, normal schedule.
I don't know how I feel right now. I'm going to give it a shot, but I don't know how I feel right now.
I just have a feeling it's going to be a little stale. I'm just being honest.
I'm going to give it a shot, but I don't know how I feel.
I'll give it a shot. I got NFL draft to watch, playoffs, things like that. You better catch my attention.
You better catch my attention. There's a lot going on. All right, we'll see.
What's the best thing we've read?
I mean, I think it's Catcher in the Rye.
You can knock it out in like a day.
It's a great book.
Yeah, it is a great book.
Genuinely, I really do have I could pull my Catcher in the Rye out right now, and I've got things I highlighted when I was 19 years old that I thought was the smartest stuff in the world. I promise it's in there somewhere. I'm gonna look at it tonight. I'm I'm going to get a little loose tonight. I'm going to pull out Catcher in the Rye, and I'm going to find some of my best patches.
Didn't Mel Gibson make a movie about Catcher in the Rye?
I hope not.
Conspiracy theory?
Oh, God.
It's him and Julia Roberts. I'm pretty sure that the movie was about Catcher in the Rye.
Okay, well, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I only read the book. I like to read.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Yeah, go read Catcher in the Rye. It's a classic.
Great.
Yeah.
What's on tap next week?
Oh, man, who knows? On Monday, we'll either be looking back at a Grizzlies season done or getting ready for Game 5 in Oklahoma City. I hope it's the latter, but
the stakes are high.
But we'll see. Enjoy your weekend. I'll try to enjoy mine. Let's meet back here Monday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.